I just want to pick my nose.
Okay. And I'm going to mute you right now, okay, while I talk. Is that okay? Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Reorientation 2020, COVID-19 virtual reorientation 2020. This is new for all of us, so bear with us unless there's any glitches or anything. Can you all hear me? Just wave if you can hear me. Okay. I think most of you can hear me. So I just want to welcome you and thank you all for logging in, and for all you've done throughout this pandemic. It's been a little crazy for all of us trying to navigate all the new rules and all the new things we've been asked to do, and trying to reopen in a way that's safe for staff, families, and students. So again, thank you for all your patience and everything that you've gone through as well. I just want to let you know is that there are really no COVID updates at this point. We've had nothing new from State Ed, nothing new from the Bureau of Early Intervention on what's happening for opening. So what I've sent to you previously is still current. We are still only able to see children at daycares, facility-based places, no homes, but we're staying mostly virtual. That's what our directive has been. And the only places we can go are places that are allowing therapists to come in. So there are many daycares that are not allowing visitors in. So we remain virtual until we hear differently, except for those few exceptions that are going to be doing face-to-face at a facility or a childcare center. As things change, we will let you know if we hear anything different. Right now, that's what we have. And then I know in the email I said we've been looking for, because ECMC PEDS doesn't have a facility, we've been looking to try to get ECMC to give us some space in some of their outpatient clinics, some of their spaces at the hospital, letting us maybe use space here, but that's a challenge because it isn't our space. So it's been a slow and tedious investigation trying to find spaces, and just when we think we've got something in our pocket, it falls through. So once we know that we have more space, we will let you know, and then you can reach out to families who are willing to drive their children to a space that we can vet appropriately. We have a whole protocol in place for temperatures, and that's being shared as people need it, individually on an individual basis. So, and again, if you have questions, just type them in the chat and we'll address them at the end. It's going to be hard. There's so many of us on. It's going to be hard to have questions in and out. So as we go through the day, if you have questions, just pop them in the chat and we will get to them at the end, okay? I wanted to remind all of you to read your emails every day. That's our main way to communicate with you. We have a lot of new stuff, new initiatives happening right now, hoping to have them ready to go in the next week or two. And we'll be talking in our middle section. What does that say?
Were they supposed to print off any of the documents?
No, not for this meeting.
We'll let them know.
Oh, one of the questions that's already come in is somebody asked if you were supposed to print the documents that I sent you yesterday. You'll need them after the meeting because there's sign-off sheets and attestation sheets and things like that. But you won't necessarily need them right now for the actual meeting. So you've seen emails already about the IT help desk, and we're working on a virtual desktop interface of VDI. We already started the Cortex, which is how we're going to get referrals to you and how you can respond to referrals quickly to us going forward. And both the virtual desktop interface and the Cortex need the Duo, so you get pushes to allow, so it's safe. That's how ECMC knows that it's you trying to access the information, and it sends you the push. You hit yes, and then it lets you into the apps and things. So there'll be more to talk about with that at 11:30 when our IT friends join us. But that's really exciting for us that you're going to all be much more efficient, able to do things more remotely than you have been in the past. We even have people who have never been able to use their own computer have already been logged in and using the VDI, and it's very exciting. And Sue Spees said it's like Christmas. So hopefully it will work that way for all of you. That's the whole point to all of this, is to get you all ready to go, to be able to do more things remotely than you have been in the past. So that's one update. The next update I have is about our office and our office staff. You all know that Jen Vole is no longer with us, and through that transition, Judy has taken on a new role as office manager. So she has a bigger role, and she is doing a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff with the financial pieces that Jen was doing. And in that transition too, we were not allowed, because of when COVID hit and everything, to replace Jen. So we are down to 2.5 support staff, and I'm saying a half, I'm including Jackie Hensley as the half because she's part-time RPT, but she also is still servicing children. So that's where we are with that. So please be patient. Again, we only have 2 full-time people who are doing billing and doing all of the support for both EI and preschool. But congratulations to Judy, because she was awesome through the transition and helping us out with all the things that got dropped when Jen left. The next thing I have to chat with you about is in your email that I sent yesterday, you got our procedure about mandated reporter. Just wanted to remind you all that you are all mandated reporters. If you ever suspect neglect or abuse, you are required by your position to report that to CPS. And the procedure for that is in the paper that I sent to you yesterday. Let's see. Okay, next thing, contemporaneous notes. I know that with claims and enter claims, it's been easier to have contemporaneous notes than it has been in the past. In COVID, not so much, just because we can't get the signatures as readily as we'd like to. But we're working through it. We're using snail mail as much as we possibly can to help get verification logs and things. But just remember that contemporaneous notes are what Medicaid requires. So please remember to write your notes as soon as you possibly can after your sessions. And with that, because we are improving our billing processes, Judy and Marianne are going to talk later about the changes in how they're going to be billing going forward, and how you're getting your notes in and your verification logs in as soon as possible is going to help them do their job. Okay, physicals, PPD, and flu shots. Your physicals should have all been done already. If you have not done your physical yet, I can tell you that for the month of September, Employee Health is open on Mondays from 6 to 3, except for Labor Day. On Wednesdays, 5 a.m. to 3, and then every other weekday, 7 to 3. And I know in the past they were closed from 12 to 1 for lunch. After this week, that is not happening anymore. They're going to be open through the lunch hour. So that will help people who want to use our lunch hour to get their physicals done. So please, if you haven't already done so, get that done this week or next week. And if you have not yet gone, if you can please shoot me an email and let me know that. They sent me a list, and I think there are people on it that have gone that aren't appropriately checked off. So I just want to make sure that I have everybody that has already gone appropriately tracked. So flu shots. So as you know, PEDS ECMC office has been closed since through the pandemic, except for the 6 of us that work here. And so have spaces in the building. So like the conference room here where we usually have our flu clinics and our physical clinics, that's been closed since the pandemic started as well. So when I went to get my annual employee health assessment, they told me that they're hoping that they can actually come on site and do the flu shot clinic. That I haven't heard from anybody but the health staff at the health clinic. So I don't know if that's really going to happen. But in the meantime, if you want to get your flu shot and the hospital has them ready when we hear that announcement, you can go to the hospital at any point in time and go to employee health and get your flu shot. And then more information will be coming if they're going to be doing a clinic here. I highly doubt that it will happen, but that's a possibility. Let's see. And then I sent you all those forms. Oh, and then the last thing I wanted to end with, and just for my part here this morning, before I welcome in Judy and Marianne, I just wanted to remind you that all of those emails that I previously sent regarding the virtual desktop, Duo, and Cortex, those are super important. So if you haven't looked at them and haven't followed through with what they were suggesting, please do so. Like I said, we're super excited about getting you guys more functional. And that's, it took a long time. I started working on this when I first started a year ago. And I'm finally to the point where I'm super excited to say that the IT has been very receptive and they're on the same page that I was on in getting you guys able to use your own computers from your own home, log in safely and securely into the ECMC virtual desktop interface, VDI, and do your work. So it's exciting news. I hope you're as excited as I am. And with that being said, I'm going to turn this over to Judy and Marianne. Remember, put your questions in the chat.
I'll just stand and look. Oh, I can see Judy. And here's Marianne, not Kim. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
As far as EI goes, we were billing once a week, which meant that all of you had to get your info in and correct, and it was a little bit stressful with that. So instead of doing once a week, we're going to do it every other week. We have 90 days to submit any back billing in order to get paid for it. And the other thing I have is just don't forget for when OT, PT, and special instruction, when you put in your attendance, your CPT code should be 97129 for the first 15 minutes, and then 97130 for any 15 minutes thereafter. That's how they're doing the billing. I guess Judy's got some stuff for preschool, and then we have joint stuff together.
Okay, so preschool, we bill monthly. So if you have an error with time or a date, we have about 3 weeks you have to submit to correct it. It doesn't matter. If you see a child twice in one day due to an absence that occurred that week, and there are 2 regular sessions, no absences that week, unchecked
Judy,
Medicaid
speak
out
up,
with
we can
the
hardly
second
hear you.
session. And it's
Judy's muted.
No, I unmuted.
sorry.
Can you hear her now?
Here's now.
Okay. These notes that we're saying are
one of the
attachments.
So when a child
So when a
is
child is
during the same week, put that in your notes.
Second session, like child was absent on Wednesday, I'm seeing in the second session on today, that type of information. if you do a makeup and it's over 30 days, if you could please put in the note, was unable to perform a makeup within 30 days, and then you can say things like child was not available or therapist was unable to accommodate during the schedule. We do audit the absences. Absences only entered if you did not meet the mandated services for the week. So if you saw the child 2 times that week and you changed Monday to Wednesday, you do not put an absence in. Then we have both EI and preschool. You want to start that, Marianne?
The signature logs, that all happened when I was out.
Yeah. Signature logs. In the past, when we had the ability to obtain electronic signatures, we did not post your payments and your visits until, we confirmed you had the electronic signature, and if it was missing, a log. Well, because everything is a log now, we are posting your visits without receiving a signature log. So that's why when you get a signature log a week later and it doesn't match, it's causing a lot of problems because we have to unpost your payment, which is a huge process in claims. And then if it hasn't been billed, we can fix it. But if it's been billed, it's going to be billed erroneously and we can't correct it. So if we could really double check and make sure that you are billing the correct times and that the signature logs do match, because we have to scan those. If ever we're audited, they have to match the times, especially when the therapists are putting 10:08 to 10:38. You got to make sure you're billing those minutes. What else?
We checked it on double check. And we would like notes. Well, it's mandatory, I think, to have the notes within 48 hours in the system, because that can also screw up the billing down the road for Judy when she's doing the billing.
And a lot of stats and reports are submitted to the hospital. And, if you're not, we have some people who are billing a month out, it's not making our stats, which, during this time is really important. But otherwise, everyone's been doing really great with the signature logs. And for considering all that had to be done, it's going very well. It really has.
And I know it's a pain when I send all those emails for the monthly audit to put in your absences, but if you could just do that, then you wouldn't have to go backtrack later. Makes it much easier, and I won't have to bother you.
I think that's it. But appreciate everything, and if ever you need anything as before, if you have issues, just email us and we can assist you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next thing on our agenda is Ann and Deb.
Go ahead, Deb. She's muted.
Can you hear me, Kim? Yep. And do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
No, Deb, you're supposed to go first. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, as far as EI goes, unfortunately, we haven't had any new guidance. I really thought that we might in the past couple days, but there hasn't been any further updates. As soon as we get them, I will immediately, or Kim, email you with in regards to any changes providing services. So also, I know that this is not something that's very, I want to say, easy, but for every new service off that you have, we have to get a new consent form signed. And that's because that, again, comes from the state. That's what they tell us that we have to do. So if you need any assistance, please let me know, but just know forthcoming with every new service off that we have to get a consent form. Also regarding enrollments, if you're not providing services or if the family declines, every time it's still being activated in NICE by the service coordinators. So when I receive a new service auth / enrollment, I'm going to enter that in claims. So you're going to see it regardless, and it's going to continue that in that manner until the case closes. Also, forthcoming in next May 2020, NICE is going to be replaced and it's called EI Hub. And it was going to be a little sooner, but it got pushed out. So when there's any more changes and updates on that, we'll notify you. But just keep it in the back of your mind that next year sometime NICE is going to be replaced. It's supposed to be better. So let's keep our fingers crossed. And just lastly, before availability for EI cases, please keep me updated on how many you want, zip codes, any other information that's vital, because I also get phone calls from service coordinators pretty on a regular basis, and I want to be able to tell them right then and there, yes, I have somebody, no, I don't. So just keep me updated until, you know, any other changes occur, and we'll let you know at that time. Other than that, there's nothing new to report. We're just moving along. And as always, if I can be any of assistance, just, you know, call me or email me.
Hi, everybody. We're going to talk a little bit about preschool now. First of all, I want to thank Jackie. She has been helping with preschool for the past 5 or 6 months, and I don't think I could have moved along without her. So she's been fantastic, and I know all of you have interacted with her over the past few months, getting information from her, et cetera, et cetera. All right, I want to talk about a few things. First thing is referrals and schedules. As Kim mentioned, referrals are going to start to come through Cortex. It's important that you get back to me as quickly as possible with referrals, especially for Buffalo, some of the other districts, because they're sending out canvassing emails to other agencies also. So if there's a case that you're going to want, you need to let me know as quickly as possible so I can respond quickly. Also, keep me up to date on your schedule. Do you need more cases? Are you totally full? If you tell me you're totally full and I send you another question about a case, just bear with me, because sometimes it's hard to keep track of who's full, but I will do my best. All right, so right now, within the past couple of weeks, we sent you out a chart of all the children that we feel are on your caseload. And what we ask that you do is look to see if there are any students that are missing. Are there any students on your list that are not yours, that we made an error? Or look at claims also and make sure they match up. What we're finding is that there are some children who are continuing students that we may have missed re-enrolling. So let us know so we can make sure that that child continues to get services. So that communication between you and me and Jackie is important. Email both of us. One of us will help you out, and we'll get things firmed up so everyone is getting services. As schedules firm up within the next 2 weeks, what we're going to be doing is creating an updated chart for you and your particular caseload. Jackie will send that out from the both of us. There'll be a column on that chart where you will write, you'll click off, you'll tell us if you're doing teletherapy, if you're in a preschool or a daycare, or if you're in some community location. You're going to put that on your chart, send it back to Jackie and me. And this way, we'll be able to let the districts know where their students are being seen. We'll let the county know where the students are being seen. And we'll be able to go into claims and put the right location there so that when you click off teletherapy, it's in there for a child. If you are doing face-to-face at a preschool or a childcare center, you'll be able to click off. There won't be that problem. It need be, if we need to make changes in IEPs, I'll be able to contact the district. So once you get that chart via email, we're going to ask for it back by September 25th. This way, that gives us a good amount of time to get it out to the county before our first billing cycle goes through, and to get it to the school district so they know what's happening with the kids they're responsible for. And following up on that, if you need IEPs or reports, shoot me an email. I can get them quickly from a school district. All right, moving on, change of status forms. Remember to get those in. That's how we know about continuing children, about kids who are discharged, kids who are changing locations, kids who are changing districts. Get those in as soon as possible. It's the only way that we can make changes in claims. Contact logs. This becomes even more important. There are contact logs that if you haven't received it already due to previous need for it, you'll be getting it either in the VDI or in that September email that we always send out for you. This is for attempts to communicate with families, any unusual situations that come up. And it's also a good way, if you're a service coordinator for a child, it's a good way for you to keep track of any contacts you made and the information that was provided to you. So at the end of the month, when you do your service coordination note, you just have to look back at your contact log, and it will help you a lot. Remember that if you are doing face-to-face services, not many of our people are. As Kim said, most of our therapy is teletherapy at this point. But if you are doing face-to-face therapy, remember that the county would like everything to be hybrid. So even if you're doing one teletherapy session per month, try and arrange that with the family. This will keep the family, will make the family comfortable with teletherapy in case we have to go back fully to teletherapy. We don't know what the future holds. But keep in mind that the county does want some hybrid, some amount of hybrid going on. So face-to-face and teletherapy if you are in that face-to-face mode. If you're in teletherapy, you're obviously not going to be able to do hybrid by adding a face-to-face session. You're doing teletherapy for a specific reason. So keep that in mind. If you have any questions, email me and I can explain it, and we can talk about specific situations that you have. I want to talk about makeup sessions real quickly. Remember that our therapy sessions can be done and our makeup sessions can be done Monday through Friday. On the weekends now have been approved by the county because of the situation we're in with reference to the pandemic. And if you have families that are working 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and you're willing to do an evening session, well, there's no problem with you doing that. It's understood that you're obviously being flexible if you do that, as is the family. Remember that if you do a makeup, in your session note, the county requires that you state, this is a makeup session for blank date. Always put the date in there. Remember that therapist absences, teacher absences must be made up. If it goes over that 30 days, you'll need to put a reason in there. When it comes to absences, excessive absences, there is an excessive absence chart that many of you have used before, but if a child is absent excessively 4 or 5 times, obviously we're a little flexible now because of teletherapy and difficulties with schedules. Keep a log of those absences. If the absences become excessive, we're required to let the school district know and to let the county know when we bill on a monthly basis. So you'll get another copy of that chart. All right, very quickly, because we don't even want to think about this right now, quarterlies. We're going to be emailing quarterlies to families. So make sure, and all of you have been doing this, keep doing it. Send us the email addresses for all of your families. Send them to both Jackie and myself. We'll get them into claims. This way, when quarterly time comes, we can just email the family the quarterly report, the progress report for that child. Annual reviews are going to start soon. We know it's anniversary date now for many of the districts. You'll get a packet in the mail, in the email, as you usually do at the beginning of the year, explaining what forms are needed and what the process is, just reminding you of that process. When you're doing your annual reviews and your quarterlies, actually, you know you have to go into Frontline or Clear Track. What's occurring now with Frontline is there are a number of districts who are asking that we use their version of Frontline for certain children if the child is seen by more than one agency. So what I will do, if you have a number of children in one district, I'll ask the district to send you an invitation to join Frontline. So if, let's say, Lancaster sends you an invitation to join Frontline, you'll accept that. What I'm recommending to you is that you use the same username and password that you're using for ECMC's Frontline. Because in that case, then you only have to remember the one username, the one password, and up at the top of Frontline, there's a caret that you can click on, and it will give you all of the districts that you've been invited into. So you won't have to go out and in, and use different usernames and passwords. It's a lot easier. I'm in probably 7 or 8 districts. I only have one username, one password, and it works phenomenally. Just a reminder, you'll get a copy of the monthly billing instructions that Judy and I created last year, explaining when you should be putting absences in, if it's a holiday, that you shouldn't be putting any absences in. The billing instructions will come in that email to you. Follow it. If you have questions, email either Jackie or myself. The last thing I wanted to ask about is something that that we in the office very briefly discussed, actually just yesterday or the day before, is the fact that we're doing so much teletherapy now. I'm wondering if there is if there's a need for occasional monthly, bi-monthly Zoom meetings that we may hold to communicate as therapists and teachers as to what we're doing in teletherapy. What techniques are we using? Are there any boom cards that work particularly well? Are there other sites that you're going to get resources to use during teletherapy? So if you don't mind, maybe in the chat box, just say, yes, you're interested, and then we can come up with a time of day and a frequency that might work for everyone. And those that are interested can take part. You may not take part every month or every other month, but you can take part when you care to. All right, and that's all I have for preschool. Thank you guys for being so wonderful over the past 6 months. So many of you have become subs for people who weren't able to do therapy, and have taken on larger caseloads and have really been helpful. And to those of you who weren't able to and are back this September to doing therapy, we're really pleased to have you back. So thank you.
Okay, so hopefully we have some questions, and we will start trying to go through them and answer them for you. If anybody has one that they have not written in the chat and wants to hit their space bar to unmute and ask, go for it.
Get back in writing.
Hi guys, this is Tracy. Hi everyone. I'm responsible for taking attendance today. And there's someone that I don't recognize and I apologize. So it doesn't have your name. You're wearing a cute pink shirt and on the bottom it just says iPad. You have your hair pulled back, you're wearing glasses. Yeah, that's you.
I'm sorry, it's Ashley Coolish.
Oh, thank you so much, Ashley.
No problem.
Okay.
Who was that?
It was Ashley.
Oh.
Hi guys, it's me, Sally. I have a question and I feel like a big airhead asking it. It comes with enter claims though. And I know that I did some incorrect billing when it was that transition from, you know, face-to-face to teletherapy. And if this is for anybody out there, at the very, very, very end where it's billing, I have a bunch of names that are in red. I'm very OCD. How can I get rid of them so they're clean again?
So you're talking about, you're talking about alerts that are coming up. So email, just email Jackie and me, and we'll get rid of those. Anyone who has consistent alerts coming up, just let us know about it.
Thank you.
Can't get rid of them. No. You can't get rid of them, man.
Judy just said to me that those alerts that are in enter claims, you cannot get rid of them. So
Some of them we can.
So if we can't get rid of them, you're going to have to kind of just not look at them.
It depends what the alerts are for. If they're for quarterlies and things like that, we'll try and get rid of them. But just let us know.
Okay. Someone asked a question about if there were any stipends for technology due to the need to upgrade for Zoom or VDI, etc. Not that I'm aware of. I have not heard of such things, and I'm getting feedback. In fact, I know that our IT friends have been working really hard to do things for us that do not cost anybody any money or data or anything like that. So far we've been able to do things pretty much with no expense to anyone, which has been a great gift. So I'm sorry, but I don't know of any stipends that are available for technology. Someone's asking if there are forms needed to bring to your health assessment. Yes, those were included in the original email, but if you do not have that, they have them at Employee Health to fill out for you. They'll ask you to fill it out when you get there. It just takes a little bit more time. If you had it with you and already filled out the top or the personal part of your own information before you get there, it'll just save you some time. And it was included in the email about the Employee Health physicals. Somebody asks, do we have to get a flu shot now that we have to wear masks? I guess you would not have to get a flu shot if you are going to wear a mask. But I know there are many people who are not wearing masks, so those people would have to get a flu shot if they don't want to wear a mask. And you would definitely have to wear a mask at any ECMC facility if you did not get a flu shot.
I do believe you still
have to have your badge scanned
with a
declination for the flu shot. So whatever process
Kim works out
as far as whether it's here or at the hospital, you will have to have your badge scanned with a declination. If that changes, Kim can let you know.
Yep. Can we get a flu shot from our own physician? That's the next question. You can, but you will still have to take proof that you've received it from your doctor to Team Employee Health and then scan your badge, as Ann had said. So everybody has to have their badge scanned to show either they have it or they don't have it. Somebody asked, will you let us know when the hospital is making flu shots available to employees? I'm sure it will come across in those ECMC announcements that we get in our email all the time. And yes, as soon as that comes through, I will send an email to everyone PEDS and let you guys know that it is available for you. Okay. Face-to-face occasion, but I'm not seeing. Okay, this might be for you, Judy. It says, on claims, the drop down should have teletherapy and face-to-face locations, but when I'm doing it, I'm not seeing that for my students.
I can take that one, Kim.
I can take that one, Kim. What we're doing is we're putting teletherapy in for every child. If there is a location or an eventual location, like maybe if the child will eventually be seen at ABC daycare, we're putting ABC daycare in and teletherapy in. If the child is a home therapy child, we know we can't do that. We're putting child's home, but we're also putting teletherapy. So if there's not a correct option for you, just email and let me know.
The next question is, can you explain the CPT codes to be used for treatment? And this is from Larissa. I'm confused about what to be billing treatment under. Am I still using 97530?
Yes, I answered it, and that was my mistake.
Okay.
Answered to everybody.
Okay, yes, the answer is yes, still using 97530.
See it is the only one that uses the 2 codes.
See it is the only service that uses 2 codes.
Look at the, can they see the answer on the chat? Because I answered it on that.
Oh, I don't know. I don't have the chat open.
Okay.
Can you guys see Marianne's answer on the chat when she typed in the answer to that question? Can you guys see her response? Because my chat doesn't show me that, my view.
You want to tell them?
Okay, it was my boo-boo for OTP.
Oh, wait. You're,
Oh, sorry.
You're muted, Ann.
Oh, here.
Unmute. There you go, Marianne.
My mistake. OTPT speech. Continue what you're doing. For special instruction, it's the 97129 for the first 15 and the 97130 for the every 15-minute increment after that.
That's for EI only.
For EI only. For
EI only.
Okay. Does everybody understand that? What? That changed a while ago, but I was just reiterating it. Good, Larissa. Good job.
Okay, let's see. So Jen Botroff asked, so no more electric signatures, question mark. How often do we send in the signature logs? If you have a parent who can get you electronic signatures, they're still acceptable. We're taking, right now, as we were when COVID started, any way we can get a signature by a phone, picture on a phone, a snail mail, email, whatever we can do, we can still accept electronic signatures. But obviously you're not seeing them to be able to sign and enter claims. So we're taking whatever we can to get the signatures. And Judy, how often do you want signature logs sent in?
Every day, as often as they have them.
Ditto for EI.
Yeah, if you can send them or scan them or email them every day, that's great. But if you're snail mailing, I would say probably for the week it'd be okay. Does that answer your question, Jen?
Yes, because I do have some kids that are in daycares, and I've called and they said they are, allowing therapists in.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to because I heard everybody talking about the signature logs. I just wanted to make sure that if we can still, if they're comfortable and we're comfortable having them sign on our phones,
Mm-hmm.
but if not, we just every day take a picture of the signature log and just send it in.
Yep.
Okay.
That'll work. So that kind of falls into the next question. Is sending a picture of a signature log still okay? Absolutely. Also, if we are seeing a child in person, we can do electronic signatures, correct? Yes. If you're seeing them face to face, you can have them sign right on the form as per previous.
Or on the pad electronically.
Right, that's what she's asking, yes. That will work. Okay. This says, I don't recall getting a chart for scheduling. Where can I find it?
I'm sorry, what do you mean by a chart for scheduling?
It's Susan.
Susan? If you can
the chart that we received in an email a couple months ago with where we're seeing the child and how many hours.
So the chart that Jackie sent out with your students and this student information, that would have come through your email. So I know you recently worked on your email. Why don't you check back? And if you can't find it, email and we can resend it to you.
Okay, because we're returning that to you, correct?
You're going to email us about that chart that you received now.
Okay.
And then in about 2 weeks, you'll receive a more finalized chart that you're going to put information into, whether it's teletherapy, face-to-face, etc. And that you're going to send back to us.
Okay, thank you.
That's okay.
Let's see. Are there any restrictions on dropping off materials at children's homes? Not that we are aware of. That's a great idea for kids who don't have a lot or are needing more than just your face on a screen. That's absolutely a great idea. And if you're willing to do that, obviously being safe for yourself and for the family, 100% okay. Let's see. Referrals are only coming through Cortex, no longer emails from Ann. You will be getting, like, for an example, let's say, you know, Buffalo calls and says, we have a speechy need for a child 3 times a week in 14215, AM preferred. That's going to go out to the group in Cortex to all the speechies from Ann. Whoever replies quickest will be the person who gets the case. However, if there is a specific recommendation for a specific therapist, if Ann knows that a specific person actually works right near there or at that daycare already or whatever, then you may get an email instead of a core text.
And what I
would do if I send you an email is I will probably shoot you out a text saying, I sent you an email, please look. This way that increased communication will be there.
Okay. Let's see. Are we required to wear any specific PPE when conducting face-to-face sessions as in ECMC guidelines other than those from each facility? And the answer is yes. In fact, at the end, I was going to tell you all, this is a good segue into, we have, you know how every year you guys get thank you gifts for being who you are and doing all the great things that you do. In your thank you gifts this year, we, the 7 of us here, are going to be delivering, maybe tomorrow, maybe early next week, delivering gifts to your home. So we'll be texting and saying, hey, I put your gift on your porch or in your mailbox. In that gift will be PPE. You are all getting face shields. You're all getting masks. You're all getting gloves. You're all getting hand sanitizer. You're all getting forehead thermometers so you can check your own temp. That's going to be one of the things that we're going to ask you to do if you're doing face-to-face is check your own temp and log it. So yes, you're going to be getting
another little special
and there's
thing.
other, well, yeah, I was just saying, because she asked about PPE specifically. So you'll be getting also the gift. That's the gift is not just PPE. PPE is included in your gift. You'll be getting a couple extra special things also in your bag. So be on the lookout for texts from us. We're going to be out delivering like Santa in the next couple days. Let's see. Will we have to get COVID vaccine once it is available as well? We have no idea what the recommendation will be from ECMC, if it's going to be a requirement or not. But as we learn more, we will share. Do we have to use signature log even when doing face-to-face therapy? No, if you can get someone to sign that you were there, then you don't have to do a paper log. You can do the electronic signature. And for EI, there is no teletherapy option. Are you talking, Anita, are you talking about in the drop down for enter claims?
They don't have to put that for EI.
Yep, I was talking about in the drop down.
Yeah, you don't have to put
In the
that for
drop-
EI. You can just put it in your note.
So just child phone. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a few here.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me.
So,
Someone had asked if we are allowed to see students in libraries, and yes, we are. We have a couple of students that will be seen in libraries. We just have to make sure the library is allowing it and that they're following DOH requirements for cleanliness, and that the parent is obviously agreeable with it. So that is possible. Another question for teletherapy once a month for SEEITs, should it be 30 minutes or 60 minutes? That's really up to you. If you would like us to change your sessions to 4 times 30 from 2 times 60, shoot out an email. We understand it. Teletherapy 60 minutes with a child can be quite cumbersome. So let me know if you want that switched to 30 minutes. And then the monthly session, if that's what you're doing, 30 minutes would be fine. Can we do therapy on weekends for preschool kids? Yes, we can. Okay, let's see. Is there a way to combine both teletherapy and face-to-face? For example, a child is receiving services at a daycare and maybe there aren't any face-to-face times available for the second service. So that would be a case where you would be doing that maybe once a month, be it in the, you're doing face-to-face on a regular basis, and then maybe once a month, you would interact through teletherapy with the family and the child. We wouldn't expect you to do it once a week or twice a week. Some parents work, some parents just are unable to handle it. They have 5 other kids home, or they're homeschooling other kids. So just arrange in the worst case scenario that one time a month.
I just want to follow up with that, is that if you're asking because of scheduling that you can't do 2 face-to-faces a week because there's a problem at the daycare with someone else coming in or there's no space available on that second day, yes, the hybrid can be any level that you want it to be. So if you're doing once a week face-to-face and once a week teletherapy, that's perfectly okay. Any level of hybrid that it can be.
Whatever works for you and the family is fine. Erie County, we've gotten a lot of communications from, and Kim is on really is being kind of more open with what's going on. Kim, what's the latest from Niagara that you can?
There hasn't been a lot from Niagara, and I think they're actually waiting to get more information from Bureau of Intervention and NICED. But they have not given us any nearly as much information as Mary Martin has given us from Erie County. So everything that I've sent to you is what I've gotten so far. So all of those emails from Mary Martin that explain what she's expecting, that's where we sit.
You accidentally muted yourself.
Are there any other questions that anyone has?
Hi, this is Sharon. I have a question. How are we supposed to handle a situation where a child is supposed to be there for teletherapy, leaves the room and doesn't provide support, and the child is not successful without support?
So I think when we provided the beginning of COVID and we provided you with some guidance on teletherapy, one of the things that was in there was information for parents that teletherapy will not, obviously will not work for 2, 3, 4-year-olds without an adult next to them engaging with them. So maybe having a conversation with the parent, telling them what you expect them to do in the middle of the session via a phone call prior to might be helpful. I think they need more communication sometimes to explain that obviously you can't do everything that you're supposed to do that you would be able to do in a face-to-face situation. So being forthcoming and asking for their help to assist in getting the child to participate is the first piece. And the second piece is pretend that you're Barney. I mean, a Paw Patrol. I mean, you're going to have to be very creative and very engaging, and it's much more challenging, but it works. We've had lots of success with it. So, and again, there are some kids and some families that it won't work for. Unfortunately, if that's the case with this particular child, and there's no other way to service him, we may have to say that that child can't get service. So that's the worst case scenario, and I hate to say that, but sometimes that's what the answer is. So if you need any more help or questions, just reach out. Okay, Sharon?
If that is the situation, then if it's a preschool child, I would say contact me. We can brainstorm about it, and then if need be, we can contact the school district and try and figure out if the teletherapy needs to be declined by the family, if they, aren't willing to take part in it. But as that last resort, once you're at the end of the line, give me a buzz about it.
Also, I just want to add that note, for early intervention, teletherapy is not working, and I'm not saying that there is, but there could be a justification for an exemption. And maybe that child qualifies for in-person services. So if you ever run into any of those problems with EI, give me a call so we can talk about the case, because it's going to be, a case-by-case scenario that we'll have to discuss.
I have a quick question for anyone, but does anyone have non-English speaking families doing teletherapy? And if so, how are you doing it? Anyone?
Does anyone have any advice?
I had one this year, but I can't speak completely on it because the dad spoke English, but everybody else spoke Spanish. So I only did therapy when dad was around, and I worked around his schedule. It was challenging, but but I don't know how I would do teletherapy with a non-English speaking family. I do have non-English speaking families that I've done face-to-face with, and I've sent them text messages like translated through Google, but other than that, I'm not much help, but I have done it where maybe like an older brother or somebody can speak English, and you can do it through when they're around. But
yeah, it's just like him and his mom. So
yeah,
I'm just trying to
always remember that there is language line that the hospital has that you can utilize for communication with the parent as you're starting therapy.
Right.
If the child is has minimal language, you're probably you're presenting everything in English anyway. So I think that that helps. If their receptive language is not strong or evident in their family's primary language. So I think brainstorming in that way, but definitely utilizing language line for those initial communications is a good idea. If it's a child transitioning from early intervention, sometimes we can call the service coordinator, and they can give advice on how early intervention therapy worked.
Hey, Melissa, if I could interject, this is Sally. I actually a couple children in the past and presently that are non-English speaking. And what I do with teletherapy, because I'm a little on the animated side, as you can tell, but I actually set up several different PowerPoint presentations. And what I do is I have to be really on top of it when it comes to that. I actually utilize some video when I go on, certain places such as YouTube, but really do your homework on that first. They have a lot of English as second language, different little videos on letters, sounds, numbers, shapes, things of that nature that you can incorporate in. If you want any of mine, I am more than willing to put it on a flash drive for you. And I have it actually starting from beginning to end of a session, whether it's you want to do it 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, and I incorporate boom cards in that too. And I go back and forth. It's a lot of back and forth, but it will save you some time. If you want some of those things, I am more than willing to put it on a flash drive for you and make it a little bit easier, okay?
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
I have a couple. Someone asked if there would be opportunity for some teletherapy professional development through ECMC for the fall or winter. Not through us, but I've been trying to forward when I get, there's a ton out there. If you search, there's a ton out there, and I've been sending them to you guys as I get them. We just don't have an opportunity at this point to, we have, through COVID, you guys have seen the videos from Tom Catroci. ECMC took a pretty big hit through COVID. So right now, anything extra that wasn't in the budget is not happening. So unfortunately, we're going to be playing catch up for a little bit. That is true for us for hiring. Like most therapists are pretty full for the fall. And if we want to grow, we need to hire people. And we've been told right now we're on a hiring freeze. So we're trying to get back from and catch up from where we lost during COVID, but it's going to be a little bit for us to get back. Next question is if the child cannot attend for a 30-minute teletherapy session. Well, my advice would be to, again, use some of that time to train the family on what to do when you're not on the screen with them. So if you're, talking to the family about what they can do in the home, naturally occurring, fun activities to do to teach language or fine motor or following directions, whatever it may be for any of you. At this point, the state and the early intervention know that we're using a lot of the kids can't sit for, they're babies, they can't sit that long. So utilizing some of that time to help the parent understand what your goal is and how they can help meet that goal on times when you're not scheduled for therapy. And then the last question that I have so far is, can we bring supplies to therapy if face-to-face? So this is a tricky one because according to Erie County and the Bureau of Early Intervention, we are not allowed to bring toys into people's therapy space. The only caveat that we think we've come up with for that is if a child is being seen at the daycare, to ask them if you could borrow a couple toys that would be the same toys you use with that child every time. And it's going to get redundant, I know, but we have to do what's best for everybody to keep everybody safe. And so those toys can be cleaned in between and not shared with anybody else. And then we're working on facility-based protocols where people could make or develop bins for individual children. So for each individual child, Johnny has a bin, Susie has a bin, and those bins are cleaned in between each use and they stay at the facility. The issue is traveling back and forth with your bins. So they don't want you taking your bins from your car to your home, to your car, to your site. They want the things to stay there. So we're working on that right now, but there's the problem with that is that if the site doesn't have a place for you to store anything, then that's not even going to be an option. So we're trying to work through all of these logistics, but taking a therapy bag in and out is not allowable right now. Okay, that's the last one I have written. Does anybody have anything that's popped into their brain in the last few minutes? Go ahead, Carol.
Can we make up a bin and leave it at the daycare, like in the child's locker?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as you
Thank
clean
you.
it in between and it's the same bin with the same kid, only that kid.
Yes.
Okay,
And I would
label
label it really well with the child's name. Do not remove and discuss. It stays around.
Okay, thank you.
Can you bring in paper type activities? Is there less risk to that, or?
Well, I guess I don't have an answer for that. I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know about that because I don't know if COVID lives on paper.
Can we look into that?
Can we get back to you on that?
Let's
Because we
get
don't
back
know.
to you.
We don't know the answer.
You stumped us.
I thought I had heard something about if you brought it in, it had to stay with them. So like you could only bring in the materials you need to make the project, like all of your pre-cut paper or whatever, but anything that you bring in that was paper stayed. That might just be one facility, but I know that's something I did hear.
Okay.
We can check on that and let you guys know. It's a great question.
Where did my pen go? Can you write that down so I don't forget to ask? Okay. This question came in. What should we do if a family is not able to Zoom but will do Google Meets or Google Duo? I think at this point, I think that's any platform is doable right now. It does not have to be Zoom. Once you get into the VDI, what this hospital has been using is called Microsoft Teams for meetings. So I don't know if they'll make everybody switch. We were going to try and do that for today, but we knew that because no one has had experience with that, it was going to be a challenge. So we decided to stay with Zoom that you were all familiar with, and they were okay with that. So I think using whatever the family can do at this point is probably the best case scenario. Are we allowed to push into the classroom with kids that are in preschool programs? No. The answer is no. It has to be individual only. It's in a section of the building that is by the two of you alone. That can be cleaned when you're done.
And remember, they're not going to let you go into the classroom, but do remember whatever room they give you, check with the daycare or preschool to see if you're responsible for cleaning afterwards or if they want to do it themselves to ensure that it's done properly, but make sure to work through that with the program you're going into. And if you see sequential kids and you're obviously cleaning in between,
Because it is so
remember.
hard to find cleaning supplies, will the hospital provide us with some sort of spray or wipes? ?
Kim?
Because cleaning supplies are in such a short demand, will the hospital provide us with some sort of antibacterial spray or wipes? ?
Yep. At this point, we don't have that available to us. We have gone to the hospital many times. We have, because of the way that the spray or the wipes work, they are just like, they don't like Clorox wipes because Clorox wipes, you have to wait. If you read the fine print on the Clorox wipes, there's a what's called the dwell time. So you have to have your toys and things dwell in between. And the wipes that they provide for us can't be used on children's toys. They're only have a 1 minute dwell time. And what'd you say?
I would say if you're going into a preschool or a child care
center,
center,
call them ahead of time to see if
call
they
them
have
ahead
cleaning
of
fluids
time to
available for
see
you.
they have
I would
fluid
imagine
available for
if
you.
they're letting you in,
I would
that they will
imagine
have
if they're
cleaning
letting you
fluids
in,
available
that they will
for you to
have
clean
cleaning
off the
fluids
tables
available
and
for you
anything
to
you're
clean off the
interacting with.
tables and
They would
anything you're
want you to do
interacting
it.
with. They
So
would
I would
want you
check
to
ahead
do
of
it.
time.
So I would check ahead of time.
Also, just please also remember, if you are going to the daycares, if weather permitting, it is encouraged to try to provide the services outdoors to the maximum extent possible. So if that's an opportunity, you try to do that opposed to working in a room such as that. So that eliminates a lot of the disinfecting, problems.
Some of the, a couple of PTs are working in playgrounds outside of preschool programs or child care centers. And we did check with the county, and that is approved by the county.
My students, both of my students have on their IEPs that I'm supposed to push in because the only thing I'm working on is social skills. How do I handle that?
We can have the IEP changed because by county regulation, we are not allowed to push in. So if there are individual childs with goals and or mandates on the IEP itself, you'll need to email me and I'll contact the district.
So what do I work on then? Both kids know all their letters, they know their numbers, they can count, they're intellectually very advanced, but they've been at home all this time and...
It's a good question, Mary.
I
think we'll need to work through that on a child-by-child basis. I know you do have a couple of kids who are in that situation, and we'll need to figure out what's best for those children and look at the program that they're in or what their home situation is, if you're doing teletherapy, and if we can create some sort of interactive situation for them, or look at whether or not therapy is appropriate for them at this time, since everything is so individual. But
Right.
Give me a call, Mary.
I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Somebody asked in the chat if you can bring an iPad into a daycare. I would think that you can, as long as you are okay with making sure that it is cleaned. And if it's your own personal iPad, that's up to you to make sure it's clean and you're not spreading COVID.
Or any other
communicable disease.
Any other bacteria that crops up.
One other question is, can we wear goggles instead of face shields? Yes, you can, however you feel comfortable. The only thing we're requiring that you wear is a mask. So the face shield can be used. We thought it could be used for our speech friends who need their mouths to be seen, or anybody who needs a child to see their face. But yes, if you want to wear goggles and a mask instead of a face shield, that's fine as well. I think that's the other one. There was another question about play skills and group goals. Again, contact and talk about those individual children with those goals.
Is this Christine saying shield?
I don't know what you're looking at. Okay, so to end for this, because we're going to be our next group of friends are going to be joining us here in a few minutes. We've got some people already waiting to come in, and we're also going to be joined by our corporate compliance folks and our IT folks. So there might be a little bit of a downtime. So if you need to get a drink or use the restroom, that's a good time to do that. But I'm gonna read you a little bit first. And it just, I know I ended last year with the starfish story. You still make a difference in the lives of the children, even though it's difference this year. It's a lot more challenging. So I'm going to read to you a little story, a little quote that talks about adversity. This is a little quote by Rosemarie Rossetti, and it said, "Adversity precedes growth." Isn't that the truth? We've all grown a lot these last few months, have we not? And this is a quote from Booker T. Washington. I have learned that success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life as by the obstacles which he had to overcome while trying to succeed. So we've been overcoming a lot of obstacles this year. You've all been doing a fabulous job, and we thank you so much for your patience and your diligence and your caring and all the things that you do because you love children. So we appreciate you so much and thank you. And we'll be back together in about 10 minutes. So don't leave. Don't get out of the meeting. Just stay there, or you can leave your screen. But we'll see you in a few minutes.
Remember to mute yourself, please.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Antoinette. Hi, everybody. We're going to be waiting for our other friends to be joining.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, Mr. Vale. I see you. We'll be getting started in a few minutes. We need to wait for our afternoon folks to join us.
Karen. 2 Karens.
Hi, Jason. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, how are
Getting
you?
started in a few minutes. We're waiting for people to pop on.
Yeah, no worries. Can you hear me okay, Kim?
Yes, perfectly.
Welcome, speechies, as you slowly come in. And PTs, I think, too, are joining us now.
Hi, Nadine. I see you down there. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Nadine.
Hi, Nadine. Susan Hughes is here now.
There's 60 people in here now.
Someone just asked if the IT part was finished, and it has not started yet, so stay on so that you can, if you were in the morning session, stay on so you can hear the general information part before afternoon session starts.
We're going to wait a couple more minutes for more people to pop on from the afternoon group. Then we'll start with our corporate compliance presentation here in just a few minutes. Thank you, everybody, for being patient.
Hi, Lori and Janine. I see you joined us. Hi, Bill. Joanne. Hey, Barb. Hi, Ben. Melissa.
Hi, Ann.
Who's that?
Susan Diederich.
Hey, Suze. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
This is
Glad
awesome.
to see all of you guys. Hi, Kristen.
Haven't seen any of your faces in so long. Hey, Jan, good to see you all. Krista Anastasia, I haven't seen you in months. Just say hello to people.
Hi, Ann. We like you saying hi to us. It's Brenda.
Hey, Brenda, I didn't see you. How are you?
Good.
What background? I hear you have a funky background.
I have a nice rainbow. It's from my session. Sorry.
I'm looking for you now. Oh, Carol, you've got your boat behind you.
Not actually my boat. Sometimes I use a video of my boat.
I can put Potato Head behind me.
Barb, I thought you were going to wear your pirate face.
I can. Everybody should know that there's new filters on Zoom that you can put on. Yes. You can be a pirate.
That's great, Barb. I love it.
You can
I love it.
I love it.
You're making it fun.
You
can be a reindeer, all sorts of things. Now,
That is great, Barb. How you doing? It's Gina.
Barb, do it again. I can see you now. Do it again.
Oh, okay. There's a whole, when you go on Zoom, there's virtual backgrounds and then there's video filters. And then I can be a graduate. I could be French. They're kind of cute. Glasses.
Those are great.
Yeah, and you can even put yourself on TV.
I gotta learn how to do that.
It's pretty cool.
Very cute, Barb.
Very
We
cute,
love that.
but I don't want to be distracting, so. And this is not my office. My office is a mess, so I just put a lovely, I wish my house looked like this.
Okay, guys, we're going to get started here in 1 minute. I'm going to mute you all so that when it's time, Ms. Mund and Mr. Vale can talk to us about corporate compliance. 1 second. Okay, I think we're good. I think we haven't had any new visitors join us in a bit. So I'm going to let Bob and Nadine take it away. If you have questions in the meantime, please write your questions in the chat box and we will get to them at the end. We appreciate your writing them in the chat box and saving them to the end. Thank you.
Kim, are you sharing the presentation or are we?
I wasn't, did you send me an email this morning?
Yeah, of course I always do it late. You know me, I can't do it before.
No, I haven't been on my email yet. So can you share it from where you are or do I need to go get it?
No, I should be able to share. Host, you disabled it. Yeah, I cannot share. Yep.
Okay, so.
Can you enable me to share, please?
I don't know if I can. Let me figure that out.
We'll be talking through this. Oh, no. I forgot to ask her this before I joined. Jason, what are you doing?
I am going to talk about Cortex, Duo, and VDI.
Do you have a presentation though?
I do not.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm going to probably share my screen and just walk through the process.
Because you can't. If you go to share screen, you're disabled too.
I have a little button that says share screen because I downloaded the full Zoom client. I assume that would have worked, but I didn't.
No, click on it.
Click on it? Oh, yeah, you're right.
Hey, did you hear that? Jason said I was right. I'm going home. That's it.
Nadine, it's nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
We'll allow it this time, Bob.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Oh, that's mine. But,
Oh, that's yours?
yeah, that's mine here.
I think I fixed it. I think you can share now. Bob, try, please.
Okay, of course. What did I do?
Oh, there.
Okay. Hey, you did it.
Yes,
Can you see anything yet?
it's coming.
All right, just click through this one.
All right. Good morning, everyone. All this new technology. Thank goodness Bob's here. I would not have been able to do that. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Nadine Mund. I'm the compliance officer here at ECMC. And it's always a good time every year to. Oh, hey, Bob, I don't know how to turn. Oh, there it goes. Okay, never mind. So what is compliance? It's really making our legal and ethical responsibilities are and abiding by all the rules and regulations, and everyone is a little bit different. I know PEDS is very specific and it has many different specific criteria. We also have a new code of conduct out this year that was just approved, well, it was last year. But I want to make sure everybody's aware of it. The code of conduct is a great document, and it really outlines what our expectations are for all of our employees. It's about promoting ethical behavior, recognize areas of vulnerability, reporting concerns, suspicions, and proper activities. We want to know what's going on. If you have any questions or challenges, we're here as a resource for you. It's always about doing the right thing. So some of the key elements, we're mandated to have a compliance program if we want to accept Medicare and Medicaid payments. So, part of it is these are the key elements. We have written policies and procedures. We have a compliance officer and a compliance committee. We have training. That's why you're here today. An education program. And then there's also orientation, reorientation, all different kinds of things that we provide if there's ever any additional need. If you have any specific questions or additional training that you would want us to do, we're always here, always ready and willing. We have effective lines of communication. We have a hotline. You can email us or whatever. We're here for you. Enforcement, so we have disciplinary guidelines with our HR department, and auditing and monitoring, responding for any type of detected offenses, developing corrective action plans, and reporting. Plan to detect, correct, and prevent any fraud, waste, and abuse, and that's part of our compliance program. But it can mean so many different things. And so we're responsible for knowing, understanding, complying with our code of conduct, which I mentioned. And I think I had sent you a copy, Kim, of our updated code of conduct to make sure we can share it with. So why do you need training? Well, it's part of our compliance program, and everyone is required to have compliance and training if we want to accept Medicare and Medicaid payments. So, and it's really, frightening about so much abuse for Medicare and Medicaid. It's millions, if not billions, a year is, for fraud, waste, and abuse. So this is everyone has to have a compliance program. So our background, we're required to have a compliance program, and it shows our commitment, ECMC's commitment for honesty, integrity, and professionalism, and it's really the right thing to do. So monitoring compliance, what we would be looking for is chronological entries into the medical record, because that really shows and it solidifies the integrity of the record for chronological entries. It's strongly recommended, and the record must reflect continuous chronological of the patient's healthcare, clinical documentation, the timing and dating of entries. All entries must be timed and date. And now with electronic, everything is time and dated, and everything is audit trail. I don't know if everyone's there is on electronic. but everything needs to be time and date stamped. With the EHR, it is automatically done. And so you cannot, avoid it. And there's also audit logs that we can go through and make sure, things have been done appropriately, but then so can litigation, so can an auditor. So everything is time and date stamped, just so, and they will utilize that for any type of investigations. So some documentation necessary for billing and claiming purposes, and I'm pretty sure you know all of this already. I just want to include it on the screen of the different types of things that they would be looking for billing and claims of what is required. And I won't go through all of these. A lot of it is common sense, but this is actually right. I obtained this right from the Medicaid website in regards to specifically the PEDS program, the early intervention program. The recipient's identification, unit of service, the date of service was rendered. It says ICD-9 diagnostic codes. This is old, so I'm hoping that they're utilizing ICD-10. I don't know. And if the employer contractor is approved agency under contract. So they want also the CPT code. And so these are many of the different things that is required for any types of billing and claimings that we need to have in place. And the documentation necessary for billing and claiming purposes, of course, the name, license, certification, registration number, copy of the individualized service plan, authorization municipality to deliver the service, written orders or recommendations, session notes, recipient, and the child, parent, caregiver name, date of service, type of service provided, duration and length of the session, a brief description, and then the name, title, and signature of the person delivering the service. And it can be an electronic signature. We are just in the process of updating our policies in regards to, because everything's going to electronic signature for everything, not only for providers, but also for patients and many different things. So we're looking at different avenues now. I mean, everything is changing. So, okay, service coordination logs, initial and ongoing coordination. This is some of the other requirements. Service coordination should document all activities related to performance of the early intervention program regulations. The data service, time, the description, time spent to accomplish. So any of these things that there could be maybe missing some of the documentation requirements to bill for the service, or missing, that the service wasn't actually completed on that date of service, or all these different things could potentially lead to a false claim. So that's why we always have to make sure that the documentation substantiates what we're billing for. So we just have to be aware of that. So the penalties are heavy. It could be between $10,000, $21,000 per claim, and then additional for damages. That was federal. And then this is for New York State, is $6,000, $12,000 for each violation and recoverable damages. So you never would want to be in a false claim situation. They give you, we want to be proactive and make sure we're doing things correctly. And the difference between fraud, waste, abuse is the intent and knowledge. If the intention was to defraud the government, I am intentionally, let's just say, billing for these services that were never provided, never were documented, if because it wasn't documented, it wasn't done, and then billing for those services. So reporting fraud, waste, abuse, our code of conduct clearly states that. We want to know, we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. And if we need to correct something, so be it, we will do that. And we want to correct it. We want to make sure we're doing it correctly. So what causes improper payments? Not all improper payments are fraud. And like I said, people make mistakes. So if there's errors, it's a mistake. Waste is sort of more like of inefficiencies. Abuse is bending those rules. And then fraud is the intentional deception. So if it's honest to make mistakes, and and we want to fix that and correct any of those types of errors. So once it's been detected, we'll correct it. And we have 60 days according to the PACA Act of that overpayment that we'd have to negotiate with the government and let them know, disclosure. So if, Oops. Oh, I went back. I was too
fast.
too fast. So I'm afraid to report non-compliance and no retaliation against you. If there was a mistake or an error, we want to know. We have to make sure that we're doing the right thing, and we want to fix it and correct it. We have different methods. It's confidential, anonymous, non-retaliatory. So first go talk to your immediate manager supervisor, and then they would reach out to me, or if you are not comfortable or you would prefer or you don't like the response, you can always feel free to contact me. There's my phone number, my email address, and we'll work through it, and you know, you can, and it would be confidential. Or you can call the compliance hotline at 5555 and leave an anonymous message. So what happens next after non-compliance has been detected? We'll do an investigation immediately and then promptly correct any non-compliance. If there's an overpayment, we'll do that and do the repayment. Know the consequence of non-compliance. Typically, if it's a mistake or error, sometimes there's just a misunderstanding, we'll just do mandatory training or retraining. If there was some issue with it, they weren't following appropriate protocol that we had set in place, there may be some disciplinary action. And then if it was really goes to the fraud or there was an issue, it may be even lead to termination. And then if it truly was fraud, for example, somebody stole Medicare beneficiary ID numbers and sold them on the black market, that's where it would go outside of ECMC's hands and go and would be prosecuted by, you know, it would go outside of our hands. So, you know, compliance is everyone's responsibility. Operate within the compliance and ethical expectations for non-compliance. If you see something or and then correct any non-compliance for to protect ECMC. So again, how do I know what's expected of me? Our code of conduct. You know, make sure you refer to that. It really outlines our expectations. And then there's the actual link to our actual code of conduct. And then there should be an attestation that you've all received it. One of the things I wanted everyone to know is that we're mandated that we cannot hire any individual or contract with anyone who's sanctioned or excluded from, you know, OIG, the GSA, or OMIG. That we have to make sure that we do not hire these individuals. And we do a monitoring first upon initial hire. And then we also do monitoring on a monthly basis to make sure that we do not employ or contract with someone who has been excluded or sanctioned. And this is mandated by Medicare and Medicaid. And then conflict of interest. And conflict of interest, we also have a policy regarding that. And it could arise if there's a direct or indirect financial or business or personal involvement with a current or potential supplier, competitor, customer, or employee of ECMC. And you might want to step back and take a look at it and say, you know, is there a conflict with my position here at ECMC? And many of these, because we are a public benefit corporation under New York State, there's even more regulations under New York State. And if you ever have any questions or concerns, is this compliant or not? Just reach out to me and we can discuss that. So again, it really requires everyone's sincere commitment to make sure that ECMC stays in compliance and that we're doing the right thing and that we want to make sure we are doing the correct thing. So the next one is confidentiality, and I'm going to hand it over to Bob. And I'm moving 6 feet away.
After I saw the pirate thing, I want to start talking with the pirate voice. It sounds like this would be a great way to do a presentation. I don't know if Kim would like that or not, but oh well. She can't smack me in the head since I'm about several miles away. So anyways, I appreciate your time. I know you gotta keep moving. Just to remind everybody, there's a little bit of lag between when we click and when you actually see the presentation come up. If everybody, just in general, the way the HIPAA works is that the way ECMC does the policy, especially with your organization, we work with the privacy department, compliance, and legal, and that's IT, security, and the puke green there. But anyways, we really are driven though by the staff. When you guys run into issues or things that you come across, and let me tell you, you guys have some unique situation we run across, and it really makes us scratch our heads and makes us think. and we really appreciate it. And so if you come up with anything, just let us know. I see a question there is, why can't a pirate learn the alphabet? Okay, what's the answer to that? Well, hopefully someone will tell us at the end of the presentation. So, all right, anyways, there's procedural safeguards for early intervention records. That will be in the presentation that we're going to distribute to everybody. Anything to add to that, to this slide? Okay.
Did I add that?
You got it.
Oh, wait, okay.
Okay, sorry. But we wanted to make sure that a lot of this information is for you guys to review after the presentation. Just wanted to make sure that you guys have it. Confidentiality is really big to what we're trying to do, and you guys know that. Is that you wouldn't want any, yeah, you wouldn't want anybody running around, there's certain things that you don't want people to know. Like if you guys didn't know this, but Kim used to have a whole head tattoo and she had it taken off. That's private information. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. But anyways, that's things like that. There's things that you don't want known about yourself. Just think about that for your patients. And we know you guys are very sensitive and very empathetic to our patients. Just, it's something that, but we have to make sure that gets reiterated. That things, need to be secure and make sure that everybody you're involved with, employees, contractors, everybody's working together for what's best for the individual and for the patient. And you guys do have a tough job with everything that's going there. And again, early intervention means if you see something, bring it up to your management, make sure that everybody's aware of it, and make sure that you can work things through. Again, there's details here. Again, there's a lot of laws addressing minors, especially in New York State. HIPAA specifically talks about minors and guardians and things like that. There's HHS 67 Fed, and there's New York State Public Health Law, a lot of things around that. And so there's a lot of intricacies in the law. As you all know, you guys are all, most of you are veterans. For your newbies, hi, it's your first time. Anyways, probably can't see me because I'm doing the presentation. So I don't know why I'm waving at the screen. Anyways, healthcare is a target for ransomware and for other hackers. In July, there's a hospital up in Watertown, New York, lovely town. It's called Samaritan Hospital. They had a full-fledged ransomware attack, took the whole hospital down. They're still in recovery mode. Healthcare has been increased target since the fourth quarter of last year. The increase of ransomware attack on healthcare institutions has gone up 350%. So it's something we thought it was going down, is actually going up and getting higher and higher. Also, they love to steal the data. Why? They can sell it on the dark net. Your social security number's worth $1, your full medical record's worth $1,000. They would really like a minor's record. Why? Because it's clean financially. They can steal it, and they can actually create credit cards and other financial things with a minor's data. There's a lot of people that turn 18 and they find out they already have a large debt in hand because hackers have stolen their data and have gotten out liens and loans to their information. That's why it's important. You're wondering why are you so worried about minors? Because we don't want anything come down to that. What is HIPAA? Does anybody here don't know about HIPAA? Okay, good, because that's the right answer. Everybody involved should know what HIPAA is. Come on, Kim, smile. That's a good joke. Come on. It's been around since probably since majority of you have been born, and it's something that we really believe here at ECMC and really try to make sure that we implement fully. It's any information that can identify the patient. And so there's 18 identifiers. You can't get off the Zoom call until you name off all the 18 identifiers. No, we're not going to do that to you. But that's including phone numbers, websites. People have a personal website, their internet protocol address numbers. So if they have devices, we have to worry about that. Anything that can identify the person. We had a situation in the hospital last year. Somebody took a picture and Snapchat of somebody's bum. That was all. But that was not HIPAA compliant because it is somebody's part that you can identify them. You can identify that person with that unique characteristics of their bottom. But just letting you know. Now, you guys, we do know you get consent to take pictures. You guys have got a really rigid process about taking those pictures, sending them to the guardian, and then also deleting them from your system. You guys, we reviewed that with your staff. So we wanted to make sure that you understand that we understand that you guys have got some special processes and procedures. And again, it's just thinking it through. Do I have consent to do something? How can I do it securely? How do I delete it from my electronic system? If you think of those things, you'll be all set. Again, we're asking you never look at your own medical record, coworkers, friends, relatives. If you're a proxy, you're a guardian, you cannot look at their records. You must go through the proper process. We've already had several cases at the hospital this year, people doing that. You're a little different. You don't might have information there. We do take this very, very seriously. And please do not gossip about coworkers or anybody's family members and their medical information. Okay, I'm off my soapbox now, right? Okay. Anyways, don't look at your own EMR. We have systems that are actually monitoring your access and what you actually do. Whenever you are no longer able to monitor your computer, your tablet, whatever, lock it. This one is specifically for systems at ECMC, but we're asking you just make sure you're locking it and closing it, making sure nobody can see it. And with devices, make sure you don't leave paperwork unattended in the truck, a trunk of a car, or things like that for very long. If you have to at all, make sure it's not visible. If you have anything with confidential information and you don't have a proper way of disposing it, bring it back to ECMC for that. Again, watch about when you're talking with the patient in public areas. You could be open about the paper. We had an incident a few years ago where somebody rolled into the Boulevard Mall parking lot in the middle of winter, decided to open up the back door, all the paperwork went flying out. Bob was out 2 o'clock in the morning trying to collect paperwork in the middle of the mud and the snow. So don't be afraid, call me. We'd rather fix the problem and correct it. If you ever have an issue where you think there's been a HIPAA violation, you lost something, let us know right away. It is much better for us to get involved right away than to wait till things blow up and things like that. If you ever have to use fax, make sure you look at the fax number before you send it. Make sure they're authorized. You do not fix PI according to PEDS. And Kim, if she was sitting there, and we get too much detail. I do want to take up all the time Jason has because it will annoy him. We already talked about paperwork. Man, you know, it's hard to do this without the laughter in the room. It's really tough. That's why comedians don't do Zoom. Anyways, verbal conversations, again, be careful with things like that. And again, we talked about things. Make sure your passwords, you don't share them. They're going to be 12 characters. They're going to be complex. Why? Because hackers like to take common words and can easily use common words. Don't use things that are publicly available about yourself, like your dog, Facebook about your dog, Tippy, like that. If you're using ECMC email, it needs to be encrypted and contains PHI. All you have to do is type encrypt this in the text. We'll encrypt it using ECMC email. Again, we have things you're doing and things like that, so we can have that discussion in the future. The answer to your question was, why can't a pirate learn the alphabet? Because they spend years at sea. Okay, anyways, that was worth the wait, wasn't it? A lot of HIPAA penalties. We don't need to go into that. Social media, bad. Do I need to say any more? Nothing ever gets deleted. No matter what anybody tells you, the Snapchat you take is somewhere in some server and some backup somewhere. I know they say they delete this stuff, but for legal purposes, they never do. So don't use the social media aspects. If you have certain clients that are requesting that method, go to Kim and her staff, and we will talk and work with you on that. But in general, none of this stuff is HIPAA compliant, so we can't typically use it anyways. Texting is bad, but you guys are PEDS. So you guys get a lot of exceptions. PEDS are exceptions with the consent of the guardian. Verify the phone number. Don't use the minor's full name and medical condition in the text, and document the consent in the best way that Kim and her staff has told you guys how to do that. We're asking you not to use Dropbox, Google Drive, or anything like that. Again, we have to have a HIPAA compliant business associates agreement with that to use that. Try to stay away from flash drives and things like that, because flash drives disappear. And also they're an avenue for hackers to get into your environment. Again, photography is not allowed here in the main building, but again, you guys are exception. We've already talked about it. Delete the photo after you send it, verify the phone number. And again, don't use the minor's full name or medical condition in the text. We already talked about ransomware. I already got the Samaritan Hospital in Watertown up in there. It's, you know, it's a bad situation. They, in this COVID environment, they are really leveraging that everybody's working remote and everybody's got a little more heightened sense of worry. And so they're trying to leverage that, and the attack ratio is quite dramatic. If you don't look suspicious, close your browser immediately. Just, you know, practice safe surfing, as I call it. The attack vectors for everything are you guys. Unfortunately, they're going to try to get through spam, through websites and things like that. And if they get through you, they can get to the rest of the facility and the rest of our patients. So, and getting near the end here, instant reporting, anything at all. You have questions, concerns, go to Kim and her staff, but also you can call Nadine directly at, you know, 898-4595, or Laura Fleming, our privacy officer, 5880, or me at 3009. Everything's confidential. And in some of the use cases you guys bring to us are great because we can work them out and figure them out together. Any questions that you want to type in? No, you guys have been a wonderful audience. I've never heard an audience never really give me lip before like this. This is great. It's nice. I like this better. You know, nobody can moan at my bad jokes. So anyways, all right, over to you, Kim.
Thank you, Nadine. Thank you, Bob, so much for joining us. I'm going to immediately, because we're almost right on time, I'm going to immediately throw this over to Jason. And Jason, I did make it available for you to share your screen as well if you need to. Jason is our best friend at IT. And the man sitting behind Jason is Rock. And Rock has been our project manager, who's also been extremely helpful for all of our new IT initiatives. So I'm going to let the guys take it away.
Thanks, Kim. So today we're going to talk about a few different applications we've been working on. Cortex, Duo, and VDI are the main three things we wanted to talk about today. So regarding Cortex, the group there has been great. We have had over 95–96% success getting that installed, and people I think are using it. You guys can tell me otherwise, but right now I think we had 5 or less people that still need to get it done, but that's a good thing. So Cortex, the use for Cortex, it's not going to be replacing email. It's strictly used for texting and secure texting. So it's a HIPAA compliant texting. It's going to allow you to have access to the ECMC directory that has all ECMC employees in it that are using Cortex. You'll get read receipts. If you send a message, you can see when somebody reads your message. That way, you know, if you send a normal text, you don't know if that person receives it all the time, right? With Cortex, you're going to see a little envelope open up when they get it. You know they read your message. If they haven't read your message after, you know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever that time is, then you can reach out to them and say, hey, did you get my message? Some other neat features with Cortex is the call feature, where you can, you know, send a message and just say, call me back right away. And then you just click on the link and it dials that person. There's some groups that were created in Cortex that Kim and I had worked on. Kim, do you want to talk about that real quick? Some of the groups and some of the workflows that you guys plan on using for that? Oh, you might be muted, Kim.
Sorry, we're having a sidebar over here. Anyway, yes, the groups, I set up the groups, and I did it by discipline. And I also did it an employee group and a contractor group. So if there's ever a time that we have to get a hold of you in a quick fashion, let's say maybe there was an issue for employees with, I don't know, paychecks or something. I'm just thinking of a major thing. Or if there was something that happened here at our site at 4242 originally, and we were not in the office and you needed to get a hold of someone, we could do a quick, urgent I'm sure you all heard it when I did the test Cortex last week. If you hit that exclamation point, the sound gets really urgent. So be careful when replying. And so every single discipline has its own group. So then when if a referral comes in or we need to talk to just service coordinators, maybe it will just go to that group. It won't go to everyone like my test did last week. So you will only get responses from the people that are in your group. Okay? Anything else, Jason?
No, I just wanted to talk about the workflow because every department uses Cortex a different way.
Right.
Quite frankly, for your group, I think it's more, it's a faster line of communication. Instead of an email and then waiting for people to respond to email, you have that instant gratification where you send a text, you see who reads your texts, and then people can reply so you know who's working on what,
Right.
whatever the case.
Yeah, our main use for Cortex will be for referrals. So we're more competitive with our fellow agencies in the area who have already gotten this technology where they can they receive a text and can text back Y or N if they want the case or not. So for us, we've had to send an email out or a phone call, and then if you're working and you can't get that phone call or that email right away, then we're waiting and losing those cases that are getting swept up by other agencies. So the faster we can respond to those referral requests, the better we can take referrals and quicker we can grow.
Okay, thanks, Kim.
Yep.
So the last couple points with Cortex, because it's once you get in there, once you start using it, it's pretty simple to use. There's not a whole lot to it. I did copy and paste our help desk email and phone number. So if anybody has any questions after we hang up, or if we can't answer them on the call, you could certainly call the help desk, or if you think of a question later, they're prepared to help you 24/7 with anything Cortex related, basically anything we're going to talk about today. So certainly jot down that information if you don't have it. But the last couple points with Cortex, all your messages on your actual device are stored there for 7 days. So after 7 days, that information does get purged. On the back end system, we keep that information for 30 days. So just be aware of that. We haven't had to pull any kind of information, but some people say, well, where'd my message go? And I'll say, is it past 7 days? And well, it's gone, right? So be aware of that fact. But other than that, Cortex, it's just a quicker way to communicate, HIPAA compliant texting. I think that basically covers Cortex. So hold the questions on Cortex. Let's just talk about the other stuff and we'll answer all the questions at the end. So another thing we've been working on is Duo. So Duo, some of you folks got a text from me yesterday because you were identified as not having Duo or not being active in Duo. Looks like for the most part, I think we were at about 70% individuals had Duo. So that's a good thing. So Duo, again, is another app that you would have on your mobile device. Duo is going to be used for multi-factor authentication. So if you're accessing webmail or if you're accessing VDI, which we'll get into in a minute, when you log in, you're going to be prompted on Duo to say, accept or deny the request. So it basically is just confirming you are who you say you are. There's not a whole lot within Duo that you need to know other than, I have the app and when I log into webmail or VDI, it does prompt me. I did notice that some folks, they're not using the Duo push functionality. They are using a call number. If that's the case, or if you're that individual, I'd recommend doing the Duo push. If you don't have that option, and you'll know when you log into one of these systems, it'll say like Duo, click Duo push, click call me, or click enter text or number. The Duo push seems to be the easiest of the three because you just hit Duo push, your phone vibrates, and Duo says, hey, can you just approve this request to connect me? That's something that we've seen with some individuals where we just have to resend out an invite. So if you're that person, just, we can take care of that after the fact, or you can reach out to the help desk. So let me get into really quick VDI, because this is something that I know a lot of the folks there are just going to see for the first time. So right now, let me just hit OK. So VDI. VDI is the virtual desktop infrastructure that ECMC uses. This is basically going to allow you to connect to a ECMC domain connected computer like you were sitting in the office. The way to get to it, you can get to it remotely outside the office. You can get to it in the office. Everybody should be set up with this now. So if you don't know, now you know, because we officially haven't really announced that to you guys yet. We've been testing with Kim and some other folks. I know some of the team members there do have it and have used it a little bit. So the URL you would go to is called cloudpc.ecmc.edu, and I can put that in the chat after, just so everybody has it. So when you get to this page, you're going to see this Citrix gateway. You're going to have a please log on, username, and password. One thing to note, just taking a quick step back, is when you first connect to VDI, you need to install, if you're doing it for the first time on your home PC or on your work PC, whatever it might be, there's something called a Citrix receiver that we have to have installed on your machine for this to work, because it uses this program to actually allow you to make that connection. It's really easy to grab and download. Again, I'll point you in the direction of the help desk. If you do have any problems, you can certainly call them. They're open 24/7. But if you did a quick Google search and you search for Citrix receiver, it's like the second link down is download Citrix receiver. And then right here, receiver for Windows. You would just click on that and install that if you're using a Windows system. If you're using a Mac, it would be down here, and same concept. You only have to do this one time. So the first time you connect to VDI, you have to make sure that you have Citrix receiver. What'll happen if you don't have it, when you log in, it'll let you log in, but when you go to launch VDI, it's going to come up saying, I don't know what program to use to open VDI, because the program's not on your machine. So that's kind of your dead giveaway, is like, hey, my VDI is not opening. And then it's like, well, I must need that Citrix receiver thing. And again, like I said, you only need to do it one time. So I'm going to log into, it's going to be your ECMC username and password. And one thing I'll mention about this is that you're not going to specify your at ECMC.edu. It's just going to be your, on the end of their username. Obviously, you would know what that is, but it'll be your current network password at ECMC. That's one thing I'll circle back on with the password piece, because I know a lot of you individuals, because you're working off site, you're not getting notified, hey, my password expires in X number of days, right? So everybody's password expires after 90 days. What I've been telling some people I talk to is make sure that maybe you put it in your calendar. Hey, I changed my password today. 90 days from now would be, I don't know, December 1st. And at that point, I'm going to change my password. You can change your password right now on your own through VDI. You can contact the help desk and have the password changed. So there's some options there, and I know we're working on some other stuff down the road. But keep that in mind. When your password changes after 90 days, you're not going to lose access to Cortex, because Cortex is going to keep you logged in. But your VDI access, your webmail access, that kind of stuff would be affected. So just be mindful that, hey, my password changes every 90 days. And the password requirements right now are at least 12 characters containing 3 out of 4, which would be lowercase, capital letters, numbers, and special characters. So when you make a password, make sure you make it at least 12 characters with those requirements. There's a few other requirements, like you can't use the same password. I think 5 versions, but you'll get used to that whole process. So logging into VDI, I type my username, my password, I'm just gonna hit login. I do recommend not saving your password because this seemed to cause some issues for certain folks that, you know, if you save your password and your password changes, now you're like, well, how do I go back and change that? So this is the duo screen that I'm showing after I log into VDI. And it says, do I want to send a push? Do I want Duo to call me, or do I want to enter a passcode? If you don't have send me a push, like I said earlier, you should probably reach out to the help desk and have us resend the invite. So when I hit send me a push on my phone, I don't know where my camera is and it's tough to see, it'll just come up with, oh, there's the camera, there we go. It's asking me to approve or deny the request. I'm gonna hit approve. And as soon as I approve it, you can see on my screen, it automatically comes up, letting me into VDI. And because I have Citrix Receiver installed already, you know, this is the piece that I was talking about, that it wouldn't let you connect. So everybody's going to see this standard user desktop. So you would just double click on the monitor, and then it's going to say, we're going to launch. I'm using a MacBook right now, so it's coming up saying, you know, do you allow this to launch this program? I'm going to hit allow. That's pretty straightforward. And I've been telling most people, like, when you connect the first time, it does take a little bit longer than it normally would. So once we get connected, there's certain applications on here that are specific to your group. There's the claims. There's IEP Direct. Is that right, Kim? Is that the right name? And then there's access to webmail in here. There's some individuals actually have the full Outlook client on here. Which if you start using that, it's actually a lot easier on the eyes. But if you're used to using webmail, whatever works for you, your mail systems, whether you use webmail on your phone, webmail through just a browser, or webmail or the full client on your VDI desktop, they all sync up. So if you send a message, delete a message, everything syncs up. So no concerns there. And one thing I'm realizing is I did not add myself to the PEDS group, so I'm not going to be able to show you all the icons here unless we this is basically the concept of, you know, the VDI desktop here. So you can see right now I'm on a machine that's connected to the ECMC network. I have access to all these applications. Now, you're going to see a lot of these applications, but you're not going to have access to these. Like, you need a specific login for all scripts, for instance, but you're not going to have that. The icons that you'll have, you're going to see 3 additional icons here. One is claims, one is that IEP Direct Care, and Kim, I'm drawing a blank on the other one.
The other one is it's Clear Track. Yeah, enter claims, frontline, and Clear Track, as well as either an icon to your webmail or actually Outlook right from your desktop.
Yep. So one other thing to note is you'll see an icon on your desktop called ECMC Home. And this is important because this is where a lot of the reorientation training is that I know Kim and I had talked about. So this is a link to the ECMC homepage. And then you would typically just go to Human Resources. And then just right under training, your reorientation stuff's all right here.
Jason, I think our screens are frozen and all we're seeing is the standard user in the W10 VDI. We're not seeing what you're doing on the screen right now.
Oh. Okay, I'm glad you said something.
Oh, yeah.
The purpose of us trying to have the link to the ECMC intranet is so that in the future, you guys, everyone can log in and do their LMS reorientation online and not have to worry about the paper anymore or us emailing you anything. Everyone can now, will be able to go on and do their LMS training right from the intranet.
Okay, so can you guys see the screen now? Is it showing the VDI session or no?
No, still the white screen.
Okay, what about now?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay, my apology. So let me close that. Again, just going back to the main homepage, every desktop should have something, a shortcut called ECMC Home. That's gonna have the ECMC intranet page. And when it loads, this is, again, where you would get to like the reorientation training. So you would just go to departments, human resources, and then across the bar here, training. And then like Kim was saying, there's going to be 3 additional icons that should be on your desktops. They're not on mine because I'm not part of the PEDS group. You know, we kept saying it already, the claims, the IEP direct care, and the, I keep forgetting the last one. I apologize, Kim.
The third one.
And then other than that, I know, Clear track. You know, I should just write that down. One other last piece, well, 2 other last pieces regarding VDI. So down the road, and I know Kim and her team are working on clearing up your directory, the PEDS directory. So if you go into your File Explorer, you're going to have a G drive that has access to a PEDS folder. Right now, some people do have that, some people don't. That's an ongoing topic of discussion that, you know, we're cleaning that up where everybody's going to be able to access and share files in that PEDS directory. So that's something that's going to be coming down the road. Going back to what I was talking about with passwords, so you can change your password right in VDI here. And of course, my screen is full screen here, so I gotta, on a Windows machine across the top, you're gonna have this little drop down arrow that I can't see right now because the Zoom stuff covering it. But you'll have this arrow similar to this where you would just hit this drop down and then you would hit Control Delete. And when you hit Control Delete, it comes up in the middle of the screen. One of the options is change password. So my recommendation for something like that would be, you know, December 1st, you know, or just, you know, the 30th or whatever it is, right? You would want to change your password before that 90-day window expires. So maybe make a note to yourself in the calendar and then just go on and you can change your password that way. But that's basically the VDI piece. I know it's a lot of information in a short period of time. Do you want me to look at some questions here? All right, let's see. I'm gonna switch back to my other desktop just so we can look at some of these questions real quick, if that's okay.
Jason, I know one of the questions was, can they download the Citrix receiver and do this from an iPad?
Yes. So that might be something that in the App Store, if you search for that, you should be able to find that. But, you know, again, if we have any issues, you could certainly reach out to help desk or myself, and, you know, we can help you with that. But there shouldn't be any issues with that. I see Sue asked, is there a specific consent form for texting communication with parents? So right now, Sue, the answer to that is Cortex is primarily used from employee to employee. It does have the capabilities to communicate with outside individuals. That might be something that we need to sit down and look at further. So right now, I would say it's going to be primarily used for employee to employee conversation, but down the road that might change. I hope that answers that.
I'm going to just follow up with you, Jason. There actually is a form that we will be sending to you in your September email about consent for using the email with the family and texting with the family.
Okay. Carol asks, is there a way in Cortex to reply to a message without replying to all? Fortunately, there is not. You can click on the latest message that was sent and forward it, and then forward it to the one person instead of forwarding it, replying to all. So if Kim sent a group thing that said, just so you know, make sure everybody comes to this meeting on Friday, and then somebody wants to forward it off, instead of replying to all, they could just click on that message, hit forward, and then pick the one person they want to send the message to. So there is a way to do it, but it's a little bit different. It's not just easily just reply and then pick the person. It's just you click on the message, you hit forward, and then pick who you want to reply to or send it to. I can't see it. Okay. I'm just reviewing all these questions. All right, so Kristen, if you had it on an old laptop, just got a new laptop 2 weeks ago, can I get a file on all the steps again to install? Yeah, we can. We do have some documentation. I'll forward over some information to Kim. We do have some information on downloading the Citrix receiver, accessing VDI. I know we have a Cortex brochure, but sometimes that, at least with the Cortex thing, it gets a little more confusing rather than just getting in there and using it. But for VDI, I think that would be helpful. So we'll get that information over to Kim so she can send that off. But you would definitely need to download that again if it's a new laptop. Yes, we can. I was having some issues on my screen doing it because the Zoom stuff was showing it. What we could do, Brenda, is we'll put that in the documentation on how to change the password. That way, we can create even a separate document that shows how to change the password. Because the way Zoom is on my machine right now, I don't think I'm going to be able to show you, unfortunately. So I'll make sure we document that separately and get that over to you. Can we continue to use the web-based enter claims frontline? Sometimes it takes so long to get into Citrix. Barb, yes, you can. Nothing's changing with any of the way you're accessing stuff now. So you can certainly still use that. This is more, VDI benefits more the individuals that are working remotely. Obviously, we all know what happened during COVID. Where a lot of folks were primarily working from home. So yes, to answer your question, you can continue using stuff like you were. Will we be able to get into any IS also? If Laura or Lori or Kim can send me that URL, we can certainly add that to your VDI desktop, so that's another link. I don't think that was one that we added, but we can certainly add that. So the nice thing about VDI is if you guys notice anything like, hey, we're missing this, or can we do this? It's very customizable. So we can certainly make those changes. So if you want to send me that URL, we'll get that added. You will still be able to use the web-based applications without logging into Citrix. That's correct. Is there a way I can add VDI to my desktop? I've been accessing via the email address. Yeah, so Julia, I think what you're asking is if we just add a bookmark, is that correct? We just want to add a shortcut to your desktop. So yes, you can. What we could do is I can send you an email with instructions on how to do that. So that's nothing too bad. Hopefully that was what your question was. Jill asked, can we look into that? Would be very helpful, as sometimes I have parents that realize it's my personal cell number. I think Jill is referring to the Cortex texting. Yeah, I have Rock sitting behind me, so we'll make sure Rock puts that on his agenda to discuss further with Kim and the team, sending out network messages via Cortex.
Okay.
So we'll certainly get back to you on that, Jill. Let's see, on an iPad, what would the app be called? Citrix. Look for Citrix Receiver. That's what it should be called. And I'm actually looking right now as we're talking about that. Oh, you know what? It's actually going to be called Citrix Workspace. My apologies. So it's Citrix Workspace. All right. And let's see. All right. For myself, Mary, yes, you should be able to do that. You need to download that Citrix Workspace app. So we'll put together, we can put together a document for that. So I put together, a few notes in my head of documentation we need to forward over to the group. So we'll start putting that together, and anything we miss, you could certainly reach out to Kim, and we could steer you in the right direction. I know there's a whole bunch of information when it comes to, Cortex, Duo, VDI, and I'm sure we'll have a lot more questions because, it's only natural once you start using this for the first time that, it's going to take some familiarity. So, any other questions on any of that stuff? I don't want to keep anyone longer than we need to. Thanks, Barbara. I'll pass that on to them.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Rock. It's been great having you see faces, the people that you've talked to. And you guys have been awesome. I've been singing your praises across the agency for a long time. So we do appreciate all you've done for us, and I'm sure we'll be in contact more, and I'll share anything you have with the group.
Okay, thanks, Kim.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so we're going to take a couple minutes right now to let our OT, SEEIT, and psychology people leave the group, and then we'll start the meeting for the afternoon folks here in about 3 or 4 minutes once everybody else has left the meeting. Nobody else leave. If you're a speechy or a PT or a service coordinator, don't leave.
Is there some paperwork we need to complete now that we've finished?
It's in the email that I sent you yesterday. So your attestation forms, your checking off that you got all this training today, all that is in that email. So yes, then you can sign those and send them back to us. Oh, and I will also be including the code of conduct in, I'm not sure if I put it in this email or if it's coming in the September email that Nadine was talking about. That's already in the group documents that I'm sending to you in September. There's an attestation for that too.